Welcome to Conversation with Zaki Baruti, with your host Zaki Baruti. Like always, I want to give a shout out to my biological family. What's happening? To the Universal African Peoples Organization family, what's going on? And to New Life Evangelistic and the family headed by Reverend Rice. Keep up the great work, and a shout out to our amazing cameraman Bob. On that note, I want to have a great show because in studio with me is one of the people that I've said in my opening. A shout out to New Life Evangelistic and the family headed by Reverend Rice. Welcome to Conversation.
I appreciate this opportunity to just sit down and chat for a few minutes.
Yes, sir. You. Yes, sir. And we haven't chatted for a moment, but right. Again, just for our audience and those who may not have seen prior shows or what have you, whenever I open up my shows, I like folks to know a little bit about who the person I'm interviewing. So if you would, give a little personal background as to Reverend Larry Rice, if you don't mind.
Well, 53 years we've been at this, just wanting to serve God and help so many people that are in need. There's so many people, and the issues become increasingly complex as the years pass. And what helps keep me going is my knowledge that God is in the heavens, His love manifested to us through Jesus Christ, our risen Lord, and the strength He gives me just to face each day.
You may mention 53 years of serving people through New Life Evangelistic. What sparked that moment for you to engage?
Those years have gone so fast. And as I was seeking direction for my life, I actually was studying to be a minister, went to Concordia Austin, Concordia Fort Wayne, came to the seminary for a while. I was studying to be a Lutheran minister, but I didn't feel called to any one denomination. I just really wanted to serve people and interdenominational work, let Christ work through me. And I saw that to minister means to serve, and I saw homeless people. They were coming into my life, and I had to help them. And then it came to a point in my life where we had to engage in advocacy in behalf of the homeless. And the work continued to grow and grow. But at the same time, because we just didn't hop when the politicians said hop, we irritated someone wrong, they actually shut our facility down at 1411 Locust, but that couldn't stop us. That drove us to the street with the homeless. Our teams go out every day. The number of homeless people we're finding in encampments and out on the streets and the highways and byways is just mushroomed. Then the tornado that's gone through has made this problem increasingly complex, destroying what remaining affordable housing was there. So now we're regrouping. Our headquarters is now in Overland, Missouri, at 2428 Woodson Road. We have a major work going on in Springfield. We're a major hub in Springfield for the homeless there that need services. And our teams are out every day. But our prayer right now is to open a major low-barrier walk-in shelter that's so critically needed, helping the hundreds that remain out on the streets.
And that's for, your hope is for the St. Louis region for that center?
Yes, we're looking at a particular place, a church with a convent building in St. Louis. That politicians may resist us, but I think it's going to be pretty tough for them to just flat shut it down because we're in a state of crisis. And anybody that knows anything about the poor and needy knows that it's only been complicated by the May 16th tornado.
Absolutely. Now, when you mention homeless numbers that's out here, do you have any idea as to how many homeless people are in the St. Louis
Well, you
region?
can't tag them like geese. It's even harder to get those numbers because a lot of people right now to survive are couch surfing from friends and relatives. Others are sleeping outside in growing numbers. It's really, really hard. We're seeing more women out there than we ever have before. Before there used to be places where abused women could go to. Those aren't in existence anymore. They're sleeping out. They'll either cut their hair real short so that they won't be identified as a woman and be repeatedly raped, or often what they do most cases, they'll link up with some man who kind of hang on to him and will use him when he's through, he dumps them and just breaks the women down, tears them up. A lot of them like between 50 and 65, too young for Social Security, too old to be employed out there. And then again, the lack of affordable housing. Where do they go? And if they've ever had an eviction against them, it makes it very, very difficult, or any kind of incarceration or just anything. So it can seem pretty hopeless for them out there. And again, that's why I have to saturate myself in the scriptures daily, call on Almighty God in prayer consistently, and keep looking to Him and moving forward, because I have to offer them some hope.
Now, in terms of governmental help, local, state, and federal, what's your assessment let's start with local first. What's happening on that end?
Well, the politicians respond to the people, and the love of many is growing cold, like Jesus said it would in these last days. And as a result, there isn't that demand. There was a period of time, about 2 years ago, when different members of the Board of Aldermen were trying to do away with plat and petition, which has to be done away with.
With what?
Plat and petition. Now, what that means is before you can open any shelter at all, within a 500-foot radius of wherever you want to open the shelter, all the neighbors have to sign a petition. Well, the trouble is all it takes is 1 or 2 or 3 neighbors to just really spread fear, because the new N word in America today is homeless. You mentioned the word homeless, they think of people with all kinds of depravities and just all kinds of different things. And so as a result, they often don't get the signatures. I mean, they use those signatures, that plat and petition to shut us down. And a high-rise did it, and they wouldn't let us in there to go talk to the people about it. So that needs to be done away with in the city of St. Louis. And then there has to be, just an equal playing field. The powers that be get the monies, they distribute it. Homeless don't have any money, don't have any resources. Agencies, in order to get that money, has to totally co-op everything they believe in to the local officials so that they can get the resources if they're going to depend on government funding. Then the government funding has been totally cut during the Trump administration. So it's a difficult time out there for people right now.
So you jumped ahead from local to state and federal. So the state and federal, how would you grade them as it relates to helping the people?
Well, a good grade is what we're seeing right now happen after you have one of the most devastating tornadoes in St. Louis history go through the area. FEMA has come in. I think there's good people working for FEMA and stuff, but the president's even come right out and said he'd like to do away with FEMA. People aren't getting what it takes for them to rebuild. You get small amounts of money. Many are looking in other places. The majority are trying to sleep back in the places that were condemned or in their cars. So we just aren't seeing the resources that are there to replace the housing that they've lost. And again, there was a tremendous housing shortage already. Renters are really being affected. A lot of people, they tried to come in under the radar, and people would rent out like $500 a month for a room and rent out 4, 5, 6 rooms. Well, again, that's all been wiped out. Now they're in the hotels, and the hotel costs just been skyrocketing. Where we used to could get a hotel, and you know that too, because we tried to help you with some people. You put up a hotel courageously. You used to get a hotel $50, $60, $70 a night, $100 now, $120 a night. That's just $3,000 a month. It just sucks it up. But a lot of people are living in these hotels now because, again, they don't have the money for the first and last month's rent, so they're trapped in that vicious cycle. You'll see more and more people out panhandling. They know if they don't get the $80 or $100 a night, they're going to sleep out on the streets. One man I try to help regularly on Kings Highway and Highway 40, I saw him the other day. He had IVs in his arm. I said, "You in the hospital?" He said, "Yeah." I told him I'm taking a cigarette break, and he ran out to the corner to try to panhandle some money. So, I mean, the people are desperate right now at this time. You're seeing unbelievable, desperate situations.
Well, you're a former candidate for governor of the state of Missouri, and out of the tornado disaster, supposedly $100 million has been allocated to help recovery. Your thoughts on that?
I don't see any of that hitting the streets. I've seen some interaction with FEMA. I've seen some discussion concerning things as far as the city's RAMS money. That should have been in the neighborhood of $35 million. But as far as just really hitting the streets out there, I don't know where the state money is. It's supposed to be $100 million somewhere. But when you're out there, you don't see it. And it can be downright depressing because I'm seeing numbers of people that were victims of the tornado now entering into the encampments and the ranks of the homeless that I saw on a traditional basis. Just on Cass Boulevard from Tucker to the river, there's 3 encampments averaging 50 to 60 people in each encampment of 150 people. The old Greyhound bus station, they're all over, and they're on each one of the floors. I was just there the other day taking them ice. They're struggling there. Then you go down the pallet yard, there's another 50 to 60 people. And then you go all the way down to the old rail freight building, and there's like a condominium for the homeless. That's where they're at. They're living there. They're surviving there. It can be distressing, but that's one area. Then you move to South St. Louis. Our teams are finding more and more people in South St. Louis. North St. Louis has been wiped out by the tornado, so you'll see some there, but most of them, the people in their cars and just trying to survive there. But South St. Louis, you'll see people where you never saw them before. And then, of course, if you open your eyes, you'll see them at every corner throughout the city and even into the county. Because a lot of people in the county, people don't think of St. Louis County homeless. A lot there. St. Charles County, across the river. So homeless people are everywhere.
So going back, when we're talking about dollars, St. Louis City made a commitment, I think $30 million out of a pool of $260 million or so that came from the RAM settlement and ARP money. Your thoughts on that, as far as that being used to help people?
What you can do is you can go to an extreme. Of course, we don't want to just hand out money to people that don't deserve it, but you also can make people go through $3 worth of red tape for $1 worth of help. A lot of people give up. A lot of the veterans give up. They say, we know how to survive out here. I'm fed up with this junk. Again, they set up so many different hoops to jump through. Elliot Davis made a proposal that they've ignored. They said, well, everybody you knew that was in the tornado, just give them $2,000. Just divide it up and give it to the people. They didn't want to do any of that. So again, as time passes and the people don't get the help, the politicians learn more and more how they can try to control it so it ends up in the hands of those that have scratched their back, they'll scratch that back. The golden rule, many of the people that have money, is him who's got the gold makes the rules. And so that's what's happening today. But again, I come back to the very basic, and again, it takes a lot of waiting, prayer, not the instantaneous result we'd like to see, but I've seen God come through. I know he'll come through. I can look over all these years of service where I don't see the politicians. I believe the day's coming where government aid is going to be a thing of the past. We're seeing that move that so quickly during the Trump administration. I've told people in the beginning, we're just going to have to continue to trust God, and that's what we're doing here day by day. Each dollar that comes in here is a miracle. It's prayed in, and sometimes I wonder, God, where's it going to come from? It's there, and we've been doing this 53 years.
Well, that's great. Now, in terms of some of the concrete work that you're doing now, in terms of some of your programs, let's get into a little bit of that. Some concrete programs that you got available.
Right. Our teams are out every day, and what we do is, again, it takes quite a commitment. For example, the men you see working around here, they were on the streets, some in very desperate situations. They go out to our residential living program out in this one's out in New Bloomfield, Missouri, and there the men work. They learn chickens. They're taking care of Charolais cattle. They learn just a whole lot of different skills. They're making sandwiches out there we're bringing to the city to take to the homeless. So they're doing a whole lot there. And then from there, those that are making progress, showing that they're really interested in this kind of work, they'll go on to Springfield. We have the majority of the workers there in Springfield are a result of coming through the training program. Some have been coming back to St. Louis. We're about ready to open a thrift store to help the tornado victims and the homeless down the street here. We have some that are learning that.
And when you say down the street, you mean
about a block down from where we're at 2428 Woodson Road.
Okay.
So it's just about a block. Hope open that up in September. Quite a few of them are going out right now, even as we're talking, visiting the encampments, taking food, taking water.
So about how many people are you talking about in terms of, and they're volunteering?
These trainees?
Trainees.
You have about 50 that's involved, about 50 that are doing that. New ones coming in. We also, in Jeff City, the older guys will link up with Department of Aging there, and it takes a time, and then we get them placed into their own apartments and get them set up where they're able to have a good place out there in Jefferson City.
And that's mostly geared toward men, that component.
That program's totally toward men, okay? Now the women is safe houses.
Okay,
that's for the women.
Explain your safe houses.
All right, right now, because of the severe crowding that we're having, I want to get this 5-bedroom safe house open immediately, and I have another one that's a 2-bedroom that we hope by the end of September we'll get that open. We'll be able to be a little looser on our policies. Right now, it's women that want to come in off the streets, that want to be a part of like a year-long residential living program, training program. And that's worked out really great. We've just had 3 ladies that have graduated from that. One's gone into retirement, 2 of them are employed. And then I got a 4th one. She's going to a pretty high-paying job that's been with us for quite a while. Right. So they've gone through that, and now they're moving on. So that's opened up a few. So we're open up primarily to people that want to get involved in that residential living program. If we get this 5-bedroom house open and the 2-bedroom one, then we're able to take them where maybe they'll be able to be here for a week or 2 or 3 or up to a month. We've had it as they're actively seeking employment out there somewhere else. everybody wants to get back to what they had immediately. And that doesn't happen that way, but so they often don't want to take the option. We'll have them come in here, let us train you in some skills, take the year, break the cycle. Those that have done that, it's working. The others, though, they'll be in, and then they'll go out on the street, they'll make applications, they'll use the internet, and it's so hard. Then their 30 days are up here, then they go back to something else.
So how many are we talking about for that component too?
That component right now is about 8 to 10. We have we could probably take 2 or 3 more in like immediately. We have 2 beds that are available to get that. That's in this particular facility here at 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. We just had, like I said, 4 that going in a pretty high positions out there in the community and starting a whole new life again. And those that I've gone and done that have been here anywhere from 8 months to 8 years. So they've been, some have stayed on longer to develop more skills.
Now, I've asked this question prior interviews with you. The support from the clergy community.
We haven't gotten, we've got some, there are some churches that do it, but we haven't gotten the full support that we'd like. We do have one church in October, and I hope people think about this. We're having what we call the Night with the Homeless. So a lot of these people who are previously homeless will be there that night at a church that's opening its facility. People get sponsorship for so much an hour that will be there with us. And we will have teams that will go out to the encampments. They'll be able to have direct interaction with homeless living outside, or they'll be part of discussion groups. That particular project is for a big vision that we have. And this is going to take us 2 to 3 years. And that is to raise $1.5 million for this low barrier walk-in shelter. Praise God, we need 50 people to give $30,000 each. Last week we got our first one for $30,000. We're just to start at this. That goes into an interest-bearing account. We need to get 49 more. We haven't really launched that campaign big time. I got to get this 5-bedroom one open right away and get the other 2 one open. That is, we're actively pursuing that, and we are looking, like I said, at a church. And if the city don't like where we want to do it, and it's in the downtown area, then give us a site that we can go on and open up something in. But don't keep fighting us. Again, I tell people I'm not running for any office right now. Okay, so if they want to fight us, they can fight us. But I think the previous mayor we had, it came down to that. We were outside of City Hall. There's aldermen that wanted to do it. She had an opportunity to link up with the progressives that were on her team. She didn't. She went a totally different direction than what she said she was going to do when she ran for office. She's not mayor anymore. And we're going to start seeing more and more one-term mayors if they don't get it together as far as the people are concerned.
So what kind of response have you had a direct outreach to the current mayor?
The current mayor sent out some feelers 2 weeks after she was done, and she talked, one of her aides talked to my people and said she'd like to meet with us. We never had a meeting. We said, okay, let's meet. The tornado hit shortly thereafter, and she's been involved there, which is great. But the trouble is she's done an awful lot of public relations, and now they're starting to call her to task because the public relations hasn't generated the actual on-hand support. The people heard it. She said the nice things. She was a great PR person, but it hasn't produced housing for the people. It hasn't produced the direct resources that people need. So as a result, the people are left out there, and they're starting to wise up. They're starting to call her accountability. They're raising the question, we got caught in this tornado flat-footed. You didn't even hit the button. The people working for you didn't hit the button, set off any sirens, nothing. And so she'd go around to meetings, and she'd act like she'd care, and she'd help a few here and a few there. But the vast majority of the individuals, they've taken the little bit of FEMA money they got, and they burned it in motels, and they've gotten some free motels, thank God for that. Some agencies out here that have gone through hundreds of thousands of dollars just on hotel rooms, all right? But that's going to come up after a while. They're going to say that's not good. We could put a person up for a month for $100 if we were in this shelter, rather than $100 a night. We put them up for a month, and then offer them all these different job skills. When we had 1411 Locust open, we let veterans stay for 90 days. They'd go out and look for work. We did the same thing with the women. A lot of things we can't do now. So again, we're out here going through 3,000 sandwiches a week, just taking bags of food and water and clothes to people living outside. But we're going to have to shift from that. We can't keep going that way. we're going to have a major rebuilding of affordable housing in North St. Louis. But my concern is that's not what's happening. Developers are going to come in, and instead of people being able to rent, like I said, $500 a room, maybe $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month, and it's going to outprice folks.
Absolutely. I hope, is there any other program that you'd like to share with the audience that New Life Evangelistic Center engages in?
Well, over the years, we've done a lot in the area of renewable energy. We're not doing quite that much there at this particular time, but I feel that field is wide open. We've trained our homeless people out there, and they can go to Missouri Renewable Energy and find out when we have energy shows that they'd like to come out to. We've done that. We have work among the incarcerated. We regularly hear from them. We're working with one man, Irving Berry. He's been locked up for all these years. If he would admit that he was a sex offender, which he won't because he says he's innocent, I went to his parole hearing, they release. He just continues to be there. There's someone we've worked with real close. We continue to keep working close with the incarcerated. Our work takes us literally in the field that Jesus said, when I was hungry, did you feed me? Try to do that. Naked, did you clothe me? Setting up places to help them get the clothing. Sick or in prison, did you visit me? Okay. A stranger, we say that are homeless, did you welcome me? So we're trying to live out the gospel, and we're trying to train people to do that, and trying to break the cycle of homelessness. So we've got to get people off the streets.
Absolutely. Now, you also will be hosting a major event shortly. Am I correct?
We have a number of them, and I don't know exactly when this program.
I think on September the 12th program.
Right. Please do come out if you can. You see, it's September the 12th. It's a special event, and we have a dynamic speaker. This lady, Christine McDonald, tremendous. She lived so many years out on the street. They're going to be riveted when they hear her speak. She's going to talk about being a woman on the street. She was sold on a number of occasions. She came very close to death. At one point, they had her dig her own grave, and just miraculously saved in that area. Raped repeatedly. And we hear about people coming to God. She's got an unusual story. She's picked up, she's raped over and over. In between that, the rapist sets down, and he calls her all these names. He's holding a gun on her. Sets down the gun. She grabs it and turns on the rapist. And all that rage came in her. At that particular moment, she could just shot that guy.
Right.
But there was a battle within her, and she didn't kill him, and he was pleading for his life, a total reversal. And that kind of opened her up to God after that.
Wow.
And she started, and she shot the gun in the ground, emptied it, told him to get going, and he took off. And after that, she just started seeing one God experience after another unfold in her life. And she came to a point in her life where she engaged in this relationship. And the guy then, what happened, she found out she was pregnant, and she had an unusual disease that she had to either abort the child or go blind. She chose to keep the child. He's a 19-year-old boy right now. The man left her. Here she's totally blind and have any skills and raised this little child, which she did. She's got a tremendous story. So that's going to be September the 12th at the Royal Orleans Restaurant. People can find that more about that by calling 314-421-3020. That's 314-421-3020.
Slow it down. Say it again.
Good. 314-421-3020. Make those reservations right now, or go to nlecstl.org.
Is there a cost for the event?
We're asking people, if they can, to share a gift of $50 because this money is going to be used to open this 5-bedroom safe house we need so desperately at this particular time. We've had some that have sponsored some, so if people really want to come, and maybe they share 25, 30, whatever they can. We've had some, but we are encouraging people to get those reservations in right now. They can also make them at nlecstl.org. That's nlecstl.org.
Now, do you receive gifts of clothing and food and that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, sandwiches are always needed. We just go through so many. I mentioned the team in New Bloomfield making sandwiches. I got a complete team of women making sandwiches here. We can't keep up with the demand. If people bring canned goods, please bring pop-up canned goods that they don't need can openers for. Those we go out to the homeless, and they'll take that pop-up can. So we do that.
What about clothing?
If it's new or like new, and particularly men's clothing, okay? We have so many men that don't have, we do have a lot of women's clothing we get in here. Women are more generous with their clothing. They turn them loose real quick. Men will wear them until they fall apart on them, so that's kind of the way it is.
Yeah, I've been laughing on that one, yeah. So we only got a couple more minutes left. Why is it important? I mean, you're doing the spiritual piece. On the political piece, which people pay taxes to help. I mean, it's supposed to be a government, other people, for the people, by the people, something like that. Why is it important for folks to be politically involved? Because you have been.
Okay, let me answer that question after I mention one more thing, because you asked me a question earlier, and I didn't tell you about one of the biggest outreaches we have is distributing bi-state bus tickets, 1,100 a week plus. I was just down there distributing 200 this morning downtown in St. Louis. It gets so hot, they get on a bus and cool off. It gets so cold in the wintertime, it saves their lives. They get on it. Well, that becomes our moving shelter, so to speak. They need it to go get jobs in other places. But why is it so important? Politics comes from Latin polis, for the people. The way the whole situation is supposed to work is that there's supposed to be, yes, equal distribution. But what has happened is that, again, people with money have gotten control of the system at this moment. The people we're representing, they often don't even vote. They have no money to donate to candidates. The situation may get so bad, though, that people are going to have to respond. I think, I'm appalled at how the president sent out the National Guard and moved the homeless camps, but at least it's got him to acknowledge that there's homeless people out there. So he's at least saying something about it and engaging, causing the debate to come forth. But the need is getting just tremendous. And again, it's like a great tsunami wave that's coming. It hasn't totally crashed yet, but when wait weeks, months, the little bit of FEMA money they got, people use it up. They have no other place to go. The reality hits them. We haven't seen anything yet. There's so many that are homeless and on the verge of homelessness as a result of the May 16th tornado.
My last question, and we got about 2 minutes left. You have set a shining example of going out helping people. Give the logic to the people why they should do likewise. Follow your example.
Look, I come across homeless people all the time on the corner. If I just drive by that person and close my heart and not help them, I'm the big loser. I've got to share, whether it's bus tickets or whatever. Or the couple, when I went out on my prayer walk last Sunday, came across this couple in a van, stranded here from Nashville. They'd literally been praying for 7 minutes. They saw it as an answer to prayer because they hadn't eaten for 20 hours. So we took them to Schnucks. I gave it to them. Well, I was more blessed than I think. They were totally blessed. They were just excited and all that. But it's more blessed to give than to receive. I mean, do we have to be broken in our own lives to the extent that we have to be out here asking and begging? If we have it, we give it. And we give it and open our hearts, the blessings will come. But to close our heart and continue to pass people on a daily basis, we're the big losers because we keep hardening our heart, making excuses, not doing it. So we really want to truly be alive. We need to do what Jesus said, to give, to share, to care. Let God's love flow through us, and we're the big winners.
Well, on that note, I truly appreciate you taking time out and sharing what you have shared.
Okay.
And like always to my audience, get involved. As Reverend Rice has laid it out, it's a duty to do the right thing. And those who say you believe in God, faith without work is dead. And on that note, also make sure at election time you know that you should vote, but also know the issues. And last but not least, everybody needs to belong to an organization that has a track record of speaking truth to power and working to uplift humanity. We say join the Universal African Peoples Organization and or help New Life Evangelistic Center. On that note, God bless each and every one.